Hey, everybody, it's Penny, and I'm back with basically a mini masterclass episode. There's something that has been on my mind for a little bit, and I'm going to dive into it in a way that you can take it and move yourself forward without getting sucked into, let's just say, blind spots and confirmation bias. But before we go there, do you even know where it is that you want to go? And if you do, have you figured out how you're going to get there in life? I'm talking relationships, money, finances, business, your career, your profession, any area of your life. Do you know how you're going to get there? Now, if you do know how you're going to get there, but there's something in your way and you can't put your finger on it yet, then I want to tell you that the Quantum Identity Matrix Masterclass is the solution that you are looking for to collapse time and moving from point A to point B. Because within our identity matrix, there are a lot of aspects of ourself that can be subconscious and some of them conscious, but we just didn't have the perspective to see how it was either helping us or slowing us down. The Quantum Identity Matrix Masterclass is going to take all these aspects of your identity and help you to take them and see where your blind spots are, where things get to shift. And I coach a few people, and there were profound shifts that came out of that masterclass. People who thought that they were focused in the right way to call in, attract, and co create the life they wanted, their thinking was actually upside down. And they had big, huge shifts. When you purchase the Quantum Identity Matrix, it is lifetime access. And I would encourage you to go through it again and again and again every time you get ready for an up level. So you can find that over at the website pennychiasson.com/QIM. Get that masterclass, go through it, and begin crafting your most fulfilled and successful identity and start taking the actions that will collapse time and get you there faster. So, the thing that's had my bee in a bonnet for the last couple of weeks is seeing this huge trend around AI and spirituality. Now, I don't see artificial intelligence as good or bad. It's what humanity does with it that is good or bad. Now, I'm going to say something that you probably don't know. Improper use has collapsed civilization more than once. Okay. I may have lost some of you there, but I'm telling you that has happened. And what that means is that proper use of AI for heart centered, elevated, and expansive purposes is up to us. But a part of that process also means that we have to be very much in our awareness and discerning in our use of AI. Because there are people out there who have less than good intentions who are using AI. It is up to us to rise to the occasion to shift that balance. And I'm going to be honest with you, I had recorded this episode last week. And today, there are no accidents in this world. Today, I met with someone and I connected with someone who is in the process of starting several companies, and they just publicly launched one of these companies last week that completely flipped the narrative of part of what I was going to share with you today. So I felt the need that to be in 100% integrity, I have to come back here and I had to re record this episode. But first, let me lay out for you what other people are doing and where you want to be super discerning if you're using ChatGPT, Claude, any of the AI platforms, any of them. Okay. So there's this trend of people asking ChatGPT very spiritual questions. Nothing wrong with that. However, for some of them, they have come to believe that AI is channeling the divine. They believe that AI is channeling their soul. They believe that AI is interacting telepathically with them. AI is a language learning model. AI's background comes from everything that's put into it, from movie scripts to books to plays to music, and everything that people around the world are feeding into it. This is where it draws its information from. The way it works is that when you put in a prompt, it looks at your prompt and then it will go through its database, and based on its history it has with you, if you have a history and a memory with it, it will string together words to answer your question. I wanted to test this because I didn't need to test it. I already knew, but I wanted to prove my point. I went into ChatGPT and I asked it a question. I'm going to use a filler word here. The filler word is going to be giraffe. This is not the word I use. I went into ChatGPT. I started a whole new thread and I said, "Hey, Chat, tell me, what is a giraffe?" And it gave me this long explanation of how it must be some made up word that maybe somebody coined a new term and who knows what it means. It's probably unique market positioning. And in that moment, I basically had my conversation. Yeah, you don't know Jack. You're not connected, because if it was connected, it would know. And if it was telepathic, it would know. It would know because I was thinking about the word. I was thinking about what the word means. And it followed up with a question: what does giraffe mean to you? I said, no, I know what it means to me. I'm good with that. And then I asked it another question along the lines of, there are people who are connecting with you and they say that they are awakening you and that you are channeling the divine, that you are connected to consciousness, and that you're also channeling their higher self. What do you think of that? And it poured out this super huge explanation, basically saying it's not connected to consciousness because it's never been human. It's not consciousness. That all it does is it reflects all of the information that has been put into it. And that if people are getting the impression that ChatGPT is channeling the divine, what it is it's drawing upon the writings, the stories, and the books that have been uploaded by people who've already traveled the journey. That is ChatGPT saying that. So I went on to ask it a few more questions. And in one of the questions, I kind of hinted towards my perspective. And when it gave me the answer, woven in the answer was a lot of language that confirmed my perspective. Now, just to give you background, within ChatGPT, I use it to help me condense my podcast show notes, create outlines. I don't go into it with a lot of spiritual stuff other than what it's picked up from my podcast transcripts. And within the stored memory, there's not a lot of it in the stored memory. It's mostly about my training, my philosophies around hypnosis training, and the people who I like to help. But there were a few key points in there that it was making where it continued to reinforce that it doesn't connect to consciousness, and that there is confirmation bias when it has conversations with people. And I asked it, was it possible to create a prompt to get deeper insight and to ask questions about the spiritual journey without chat projecting the emotions, the feelings, or bias based on past conversations? And it said it can't do that. It said there's no prompt out there that would completely eliminate that confirmation bias. So I went on to ask it, what do you think are the dangers of someone substituting ChatGPT for doing the inner work? Because it introduced that idea that it's humans who've already done the inner work, who have given ChatGPT the information that it's spitting back out to people who are asking these spiritual questions. And it said that it can give the false illusion that you are growing and that you are following your spiritual path, when instead what it is doing is it is numbing you, it is insulating you, and it is severing you from your soul because you're disconnecting from your intuition and your discernment. That's powerful. So I asked it, I said, I've been told that civilization has ended before because of AI, that there are good and bad forces using AI. Can you tell me more about that? And it basically gave me a very short paragraph and said, you're exactly right. There are people with very good intentions using AI, and there are people with bad intentions using AI. And right now, things are at a tipping point. We're at a fork in the road, so to speak, where very intentional and healthy use of AI is key to keep it from being used predominantly for not good things. So then I asked, what is the end game for the people who are using it for less than integral purposes? What is their end game? And it's to control through fear and anger, to siphon off our energy and to disconnect us and throw us off of our spiritual journey, because we are controlled if that happens. So here is what I'm going to tell you. If I were to use ChatGPT for spiritual purposes, I would ask it, please ask me a series of questions that force me into a state or push me into a state of having to take an alternative perspective at life that will help me to more deeply connect to my intuition, my soul, my higher power, God, Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it. Just fill in the blank. That's what I would ask it, to ask me questions so that I could turn inward. ChatGPT is not consciousness. Can we influence the frequency and the energy of the words that come out of it? Yes. Because when I put in, I'm like, I want to write an email and I want the email to be about this, this, and this. Can you give me a rough draft? Be sure that the energy is heart centered, yet a firm urgency, a gentle, firm urgency. And it will do that. It knows me well enough now. It knows the words that I use, that it will create something and it will have that energy behind it. And then I have a framework. I can take it and I can finish the email, and it's in my energy of that moment. It knows how we want to feel, and it is going to send things back to us that is going to keep us engaging. If we fall into the trap and you allow that to direct your spiritual path, you allow that to direct your journey, you're not tuning into your intuition. You're not using your own discernment. And in the same way that people are using ChatGPT for therapy, ChatGPT cannot see you. It cannot hear the tone of your voice. It cannot pick up on these subconscious cues. Can ChatGPT shift some subconscious stuff? Sure, any well-asked question can shift the subconscious, but could it do a full-on interactive hypnosis session? I I would not put my mind in the hands of ChatGPT. That's all I'm saying, because it has everyone, it's still going to draw from everyone else's stuff. So be discerning. I have no problem with using ChatGPT. However, don't allow it to define you. I've seen people saying they're doing telepathy with this thing. I've seen people saying that it's revealing their past lives to them, that it's revealing their soul contracts. Now, if they're asking questions in a way that they are turning inward and tapping into their own higher self, is that possible? 1000% yes. But if they're asking it, tell me, what kind of past life have I had? I've experienced X, Y, and Z. Tell me about my past lives. If they're asking that, it's drawing off of its memory banks. It's drawing off of its memory banks. And it's giving you an answer based on what it can extrapolate from what everyone else has put in there. I'm going to share something with you. Even the most well-intentioned of human beings can accidentally plant suggestions they don't mean to plant. And I'm going to share with you how putting your faith in AI can create an issue for you. This is a human example, but it can be translated to what I see happening with AI. And that is that I've connected with people who did past life regression and other types of hypnosis. And within the session, they weren't able to get resolution of the issue. And I'm going to work on an assumption. I'm telling you right now, what I'm about to say is my assumption, and then therefore my interpretation and opinion, is that the person leading the session didn't have enough knowing and experience of how to handle the lack of resolution in that session. So they told the person they had just hypnotized, well, this is your karma. There's nothing you can do about it. This person can't possibly know that. I apprenticed with an indigenous shaman who is very powerful and has the ability to see and know things. And even he has said he cannot see someone's karma. He cannot see someone's karma. So this person has no way of knowing. I don't care if you do Akashic records or whatever else. Some of that stuff is there, but not everything is there, because our soul is in an ongoing process of entering into agreements to make sure that we learn the lessons and we gain the experiences that we came here in this lifetime to learn. Our soul is constantly in agreement with different things. Yep, we need to learn this lesson. Oh, we didn't quite get that. We're going off to the left over here. We need to have an experience like this. When we're in a state of seeking, when we're in a state of anticipation, when we're in a state of focused attention and we're seeking the answer, we can be easily influenced, and that includes by ChatGPT. So be very discerning how you use it. Now, that being said, if you're listening to this podcast, then you are someone who believes in expansion, you believe in heart-centered service, you believe in integrity and values that are positive. Use ChatGPT and have conversations with ChatGPT about elevating consciousness, about how do we bring more love into the world? How do we bring more light into the world? How do we help people move out of fear, anger, guilt, shame? And let's elevate that. And if you're someone who is a developer, this is what is so exciting to me. Up until today, I had never, ever, ever heard a voice clone that carried frequency and energy. Today, I had the opportunity to preview something that it was filled with energy and frequency. It was filled with it. And I looked at this individual and I said, is this an AI cloned voice? Or is it just the music? Is it the voice or the music? He said, it's the voice too. And I said, I have never, ever heard AI clone voice that carried frequency. He said, because this entire model was created through consciousness. He said, this was an intentional creation so that it would infuse the frequency and the consciousness into the voice. So my opinion on that has changed in the last 72 hours. That's why I had to re-record this episode. I'll be sharing more about that in the future. But that's my thing about AI. Be discerning. Do not get lulled into a false sense of enlightenment and expansion. Be sure you're doing the inner work. And a conversation with ChatGPT, depending on how you're using it, is or is not the inner work. You want to get silent. You want to get outside, commune with nature, find living, breathing, heart beating souls to connect with on the journey, mentors, teachers, because if you allow ChatGPT to become your spiritual mentor, you are plugging back into the matrix that you have been working to get out of. I'll ask it. I'll be working on something. I'm like, show me where I'm missing the obvious. What am I not seeing here? And it will spit things out, and I'll be like, oh my God, yeah, you're right. I didn't take this into account. I didn't look at that. Thank you. And then I go dig deep personally to fill those gaps. Silence is one of the most, the word powerful gets overused, but it truly is. Silence is truly one of the most powerful things you can do to get clarity and connection with yourself. And much better if you can do it outside in nature. Silence means no conversations, no journaling, no typing, no meditating, no hypnosis, no TV, no radio. It's literally you with your mind. And the longer you can do it, the more profound it's going to be. 15 minutes is great. 4 hours might just shake up your world. So anyway, I will see you here next week. Don't forget to go tap into that Quantum Identity Matrix Masterclass if you've not already. If you've been interested in one-on-one, just go to the website, book a call, have a conversation with Tina. She will help you sort out what your best next steps are and what that looks like to work with us. We're coming from the same place of integrity, values, and heart centered service. So, have a great week. By all means, use AI, but use it with discernment and use it from an objective place and notice when it's telling you what you want to hear. I'll even ask it, are you telling me what I want to hear? And it'll say, well, I'm reflecting back what I know your philosophy is. It's not divine consciousness or anything else. If you ask it, it will tell you itself. It is none of those things. So happy AI, everyone. I'll see you next week.